What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. Dean78904 if you want to get all technical. That's the daily fantasy handle. It is 4:30. 4:30. Why are we on at 4:30? Well, because the slates are a little bit different today. We got Fanduel. They're both 7-game slates. Fanduel's slate starts at 6:10 because they're including the San Francisco-Arizona game. The DK slate starts around 6:40, I want to say, and they're including the back half of that Cleveland and Detroit doubleheader. We'll be digging in, breaking down a little bit different as far as the slates. And kind of a big one is that Rodon is throwing baseballs on Fanduel when he's not doing so on TK. Joining me today, hopefully everybody out there is having themselves a nice, happy, safe holiday. It's TJ bringing in the lefty for the fourth, the greatest player in all DFS player in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I don't know if does that branch out to other provinces, or we're just going to claim the one province. I feel like you can take down. I don't know what's one that we don't really even talk about. Like Ontario's
Manitoba. We could take down that one as well. As soon as we get into the Albertas, the BCs, the Ontarios, we're getting to some bigger populations, so there might be some competition. But I think we're probably still up there. I think. I like to stay confident. I think I might also be the best Tetris player in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. So high bar and smart move by RG today, bringing in the Canadian to the 4th of July show. Let everybody else celebrate, and just a regular day for me. So it's I'm ready to talk some baseball. Every Grinders Live show, each 50 likes, we're gonna get another Spidey bomb. And today, one of our loyal RG subscribers tagged me in something because Michael Fabiano on Sirius FM Fantasy Sports they posted on Twitter their favorite Spidey web-slinging quarterbacks. And so I don't know if RG needs to have a conversation with Spider-Man, maybe get him also under contract. Because I didn't know he must have been off doing this on his own. He's always fighting crime through the night. And apparently he slipped Michael Fabiano some QBs as well. So gonna have to talk to Spidey and get him locked down exclusively for RG, but I guess we don't have that done yet.
Some would call that by plagiarism. I feel like some people would say, well, wait a second, they're using the Spider-Man thing as well too. I don't know there's a lot of people out there that are quick to call plagiarists, I'm sure. I don't know if Kirk Geese is lurking in the chat. I'm not sure what he's up to these days, but that's a word that pops out of his mouth fairly often. But yeah, well, has Spidey been a little cold? I feel like maybe he's branching out. He's going to football. Is he done? Is Spidey bombs gone? He hit the threshold and that's that. And now he's a football expert.
He went a little bit cold, and Spidey knows that. Although I love me some daily fantasy baseball. Full disclosure, it's my probably fourth best sport behind NFL, NBA, and NHL. So Spidey is maybe just needed to. He had a lot of pressure on himself. The cold streak was getting to him, and so he went to just get loose a little bit, swap to some other sports. But he'll be back and ready to go when he needs to be.
Say hello to the chat. What's up, YouTube? Kindly hit that like button. We'd appreciate it. Helps out with the old algorithm, and like you said, it'll wake Spider-Man up. Is he lurking? Is he next to you? Is he within arm's length reach as of right now?
He's here, and the 4th of July is also Captain America's birthday, Steve Rogers. So sure. might have to be something Steve themed as well. We'll see.
Is he available? I see. Actually, I think I see his shield over your head, if I'm not mistaken.
His shield's right behind me here. We got one Spidey, one Cap doll right there, but we also got lots of Funkos lurking of Captain America that we could be able to pull in.
Producer Devin is in a generous mood. He said we can do a holiday giveaway in Discord today for free premium along with the Spidey bombs. And how do you go about doing that? You go to RotoGrinders.com/Discord. You go into the live stream chat channel. There are some premium channels. This is a non-premium channel. Just jump in there and hit the party popper, and you might have like a 1 in 10 chance to win yourself 1 month. Is it 1 month or 1 week? No, it's 1 week. You know how you get 1 month free? You got to beat Mean Dean. And TJ, I'm sure you've been following this. I'm sure you're aware. And I saw people get that hashtag wrong. You're on top of it. I had my first matchup this last weekend. Did this on Friday. Naked HD. I don't know if Naked HD is out there lurking, but he challenged me in the challenge. Head-to-head challenge. I'm a visiting team. I'll play anywhere. I'll play on Fanduel. I'll play on DK. We played on Fanduel. had a head-to-head contest, and the marketing team will be happy to know they did not have to give up 1 month free of RotoGrinders Premium. But, TJ, I'm looking for a new challenger. I'll probably pick them tomorrow night. It's going to go down on Wednesday because I'm going on vacation on Thursday. Typically, you probably do it like on a Friday. But, yeah, hashtag BeatMeanDean. At me on Twitter, DFS_almanac. Yeah, and, be creative. Call me out. More creative, more likely you're going to get called out as my opponent. And all you got to do is beat me head-to-head style. Get yourself a month. TJ, a month. Could you put a price on that? A month? What? I don't even know. There probably is a price you can put on it, but there's bragging rights too, and there is swag. So that's where we're at. Yeah. Should I just quit while I'm ahead, undefeated? That's that? Just walk off?
No, I don't think anybody could fault you for walking off after a nice time spent with Naked HD. But you're still young. You don't got to go out on top yet. I think there's a few more championships lurking in Dean's mean corner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna deem myself like the Joey Chestnut of the Beat Mean Dean. I just want to know that dude's won like 15 times in a row. I was sad to learn today. He's not making as much money as he should be. He's the entire show. Like he's only. I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier today. What do you think first prize is for winning that contest? You're aware of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest that goes down in Clay Island?
I don't know what first is, but I imagine Joey Chestnut's financial earnings are similar to those of like an Olympic athlete, where that event is not where they're accumulating all their worth. It's through sponsorships they get from the publicity from winning.
I'm curious who his sponsors are. Are they like is he like a Nathan's like rep, or he's got to sponsor a bunch of food places, I imagine. Maybe Pepto, I don't know. But yeah, I did see. I was curious. This is what I was doing over today. I did research the slate as well, I promise. But I was curious.
They should do a Nike one where it's like he's wearing some new Nike running shoes, and it's when you got it like showing him having to quickly sprint to the bathroom after a hot dog eating competition.
The post-game show should be on like pay-per-view, is what you're saying. Like what happens like 15 minutes after they go off air. So that's what you want to know what's going on. I think
I don't want to know what's going on. I just think that would be a good. I think that'd be a good commercial.
Several people in chat, I guess either they missed it, they kind of jumped in late, or it was kind of confusing what we're talking about. To Prince, how do we join the giveaway? Well, the giveaway is you jump in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Hopefully we can get producer Steve or producer Devin to go ahead and drop a link in chat to make it easy for the people. You don't have to have a premium RotoGrinders membership. Just any RotoGrinders membership will do. You don't have to pay anything for it. And just jump in that live stream chat, hit the bell. There's there'll be an automated bell. You can see it. Just click the button, and you're in the pool. You got a chance and a decent shot. The way I've seen it, sometimes it's like a 1 in 10 shot to get yourself one make free. And it's not just for baseball, for the record. RG Premium, well, right now, kind of out of season of a lot of sports, but you'll get the MMA content, you'll get the PGA content, you'll get the F1 content. In theory, if this was during the NFL season, you'd get that as well. But it's not, so you won't. But that's just how it's going down. And I see Frank in chat. I want to play against Dean. Okay, Frank, let's do it. Like, call me out, be creative, hit me up on Twitter. I think ideally it would be nice if we had like a video call out. Like, just like, it doesn't have to be like R-rated or NC-17, but like have some fun with it. And we would actually play the video, keep it short. Obviously, we only go for 20 minutes or so and call me out on have like a whole presentation. But that'll be good times. We would actually play it in the show. So, yeah, Frank, at DFS Almanac. Wait, what's on the screen? I think my Twitter's on the screen. Or hashtag BeatMeanDean. You can find it multiple ways. And I'll be selecting somebody probably tomorrow. And again, you get 1 month free of RG Premium. Pretty good value just for playing a head-to-head. It's it's not worth, and it's a $0 head-to-head. I'll just send it to you and we'll make it work. But all right, enough of that. Getting that stuff out of the way. The slates. Rodon, he's a thing on Fanduel. He's not a thing on DK. Again, the back half of that Cleveland-Detroit doubleheader. Josh Naylor got hurt in the first game, for the record. I'm not sure if we have lineups just yet, but he's probably not going to play in game 2. And Fanduel just does not mess around with those doubleheaders. Also, you guys get chief meteorologist Kevin Roth, and you get Dave Potts, and you get Keith Eyster. They're going to be taking you guys up to the Fanduel lock, which, again, 6:10, and through, depending on how questions come in, up to close to the DK lock as well. They'll be jumping in. What time are they coming in? I guess about 25. We have an official time, but I'm scrolling and I can't find it for some reason. When are they jumping in here? Do you know, TJ?
I have not checked, sorry, but I mean, I assume if the slate starts at 6:10, they'll probably be jumping in here right around 5:30.
Yeah, math is hard, and I will find it in a second. But just there's no reason to go anywhere. We'll take you guys up to Fanduel Lock and beyond.
I was looking at the Arizona lineup right now and kind of deciding how much I really like Rodon and how much better I may like Manoah, because I think with the FanDuel slate starting earlier, those two $100 apart, that really should be our first pitching conversation. Is these guys are 1A and 1B today. Who's top of the board for each of us?
I'm pulling. Who is David VR playing baseball for the Giants? Who's that? Is that a person I should be aware of? I've heard of Jonathan VR, who's now on the Angels, by the way. They just picked him off the scraps, and he was leading off the other day. But yeah, on FanDuel, it's tricky because I don't think I'm going to go. Okay, first of all, what are you doing on FanDuel? You're playing a bunch of lineups, playing one lineup, 5 lineups. What are you doing? Because myself, I
just one today.
Okay. For me, it's one of 3 pitchers. I mean, Manaea is kind of on the outside looking in, but I like Manaea. But, he's probably not my favorite. Well, he's definitely not my favorite. But, could he be the top pitcher? Of course he can. We'll talk about him in a second. I think, Manoah and Rodon are basically the same price. Manoah feels like a guy that should have more strikeouts, but he doesn't. He's an awesome pitcher. If you care about ERA, his ERA is 2. I don't really care so much about that. He's been a little bit lucky, obviously. Homer in the fly ball, 6.7%. His left on base at 81%, but he's just an awesome, awesome pitcher. He's facing Oakland. Oakland is terrible. They don't strike out a ton, but they're back half, bottom 5 in all categories essentially that matter. They don't walk. Manoah versus Rodon, and they're essentially the same price. And I don't have a hot take on it. I just think it's really, really close. And I mean, if you want to say Manoah is the better play from a run prevention perspective, possibly better ballpark as well. That ballpark in Oakland, of course, steals some strikeouts sometimes, the foul balls. But, give me the hard sell. As the Canadian, look, I like Manoah. I think he's awesome. I think he's a future Cy Young. Maybe even this year. Wouldn't shock me. But, talk to me about Manoah versus Rodon on FanDuel.
So both options are great today. I think Rodon is your higher risk reward option. Manoah is your safer option. On DraftKings today, where I think I'd be walking in Manoah regardless of how many lineups I was playing. On FanDuel, in cash games, I think it's reasonable to go to Rodon, even though I think Manoah is safer, just because he's going to, I think, end up picking up more ownership. Right now, depending on every time they refresh, they end up getting swapped swapped in ownership every hour. It kind of seems they flip flop, and I think Rodon is going to end up.
That's why.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, I think Rodon's going to end up being higher just because we have him projected a little higher throughout the industry. He's projected a little bit higher, and because of that, optimizers are going to spit him out a lot more. And I think that's where people are going to go. I like Manoah better because, one, this game is in Oakland. This is a way better pitcher's park than Manoah's ever been in this year. And, he could go 9 today. He may not strike out a ton of guys, but he could go 9. They only have 4 righties in the lineup. So his per inning strikeouts may not be great. However, he should be able to rifle through this lineup nice and quick. We don't have to worry about his pitch count. Even if he gives up some fly balls, it's in a park that this team shouldn't hit it hard enough for them to go out. Manoah's going to be my top option today. And I really don't think, if you're playing lots of lineups, I don't think you got to get too crazy. My favorite fade today from a pitching standpoint, especially on DraftKings where he's cheaper and going to pick up more ownership, is Arias. Pitchers always are chalky when they're facing when it's a good pitcher facing Colorado outside of Coors Field. But Colorado is a pretty darn good offense to left-handed pitchers. So even if he gets through this lineup well, I don't think he's going to be picking up a ton of Ks. And I actually think Colorado could give your Arias a tough time. So that's my favorite fade. But on FanDuel, I think I'd really just be going Manoah and Rodon in like even if I was playing 150, I'd probably be having the two of those guys in 80 to 90% of my lineups.
Oh man, so Colorado versus lefty. It's a weird one, right? So Colorado versus lefties this year has got a 120 WRC plus, which is awesome. That's really, really good. That's 20% better than the average lineup. They don't strike out a ton either, 18.5%. But then if you say like instead of versus lefties, let's put them on the road, right? Which is where they are today. And their WRC plus is the second worst in all of baseball. They're 84th. They're 16% worse on the average team. Still don't strike out a ton, but they strike out more, 21.4%. I was looking at both that stuff. I was just trying to figure it out. And I think there's a meaningful enough difference in the price for Urias that I'm fine going to Urias. Ideally, yeah, I'm with you. I want to get either Manoah or Rodon. And again, I'm fine. I'm Manaea as well, too. And I don't think you have to go much beyond that. You can make pretty good lineups on FanDuel, get kind of sort of mostly what you want with just sticking with those pitchers. And that's basically that. I'm not making a ton of lineups, but if I was, I still would keep my pitching pool really, really thin. I just that's a good question as far as Urias, and you're talking about him getting possibly owned. And my rebut to that is that I don't know if I played Urias all season long, and I feel like he's never really a guy that's very popular. Of course, we know that he's got a short leash, shorter than most. 85, 90 pitches, about the most you can get out of him. You're sort of begging for 6 innings. If you get any more than that, you're happy. Well positioned for the W as well, too, right? There's some win equity there. I think they're the biggest favorite on the board. Yeah, they're minus 300 at this point, which is a big number for baseball, obviously. Betts is back, which make that Dodger lineup really, really solid. I'm okay with Urias, but I hear you as far as that being a fade. But I'm going to play him. I'm going to play some of them. Again, ideally, we do have more with salary cap. Ideally, I'd rather grab one of the other two as far as Rodon and Manoah, but that's kind of where I'm at. Talk about Manaea, and I guess I shouldn't be neglecting Kyle Wright, who's shown flashes. Of course, the ballpark's not great, and St. Louis, is a tough team to strike out. Talking about Manaea and Kyle Wright.
Not big on either of the two of them today. I will probably just completely ignore this Kyle Wright St. Louis side. In terms of Manaea, I think I'd actually rather go to the Seattle batters. I'd rather just go a bit more off the board with pitching today. For tournaments, and if I am wanting to get really different, I think I have some like slight interest in Taijuan Walker. He's not that good, but neither is Cincinnati. And we've seen him be able to put up some big games before where he's pitching well. The other guy on DraftKings that I like, I don't think he's available on FanDuel, would be Connor Pilkington, 6K facing Detroit. It's 6K facing Detroit, so I'm in. I would honestly rather play him than Urias on DraftKings today. So that's kind of where I'm at for pitching, but Manoah is my top overall option on both sites.
I wouldn't play Pilkington on FanDuel just because I don't think I need the salary that bad, and I just really can't see a scenario where, sure, could he outscore Urias? Of course. Could he outscore Manoah? I suppose. Rodon? Yeah, I get
that game's not on FanDuel, so we don't even have to worry about that.
Oh, you know what? That is a good point. Well, that's one reason why I didn't consider him. But then, yeah, okay, good point. But just he's got a live arm. He's throwing baseballs against Detroit, and that's the sales pitch, right? He also probably isn't major league ready, but neither are a bunch of the hitters on the Detroit side. So, just hope for BABIP to be on the side. You want to open stuff up. I hear you. Talk to me about Manaea. Because you say Manaea is your favorite option?
No, I said Manaea would be my favorite option to target high owned option to target the offense facing him.
Okay,
I don't like Manaea, and I am quite interested in Seattle today in tournaments.
So I'm not sure if you missed this or not, but Seattle, they obviously are dealing with the repercussions of that brawl, brouhaha, whatever adjective you want to use. They had a bunch of suspensions. Yes. You like that one? You can have that. That's I wouldn't call it a brawl. Like brawl sounds like more stuff went down. Scuffle, kerfuffle. I don't know. Whatever adjective works for you. So
it was a kerfuffle with a side of brouhaha.
What is the chat's favorite adjective to describe whatever happened, or just like a baseball fight in general? So they did put, a bunch of guys got suspended is the point. And Winker is taking a suspension now. Like a lot of them are appealing. And it feels like they're just sort of like kind of bracketing him, right? Like this guy will go out now. This guy will go out later. Crawford was down for a few games. Now he's back. J-Rod at some point is going to have to serve his suspension. I suppose it's not going to be overturned. We'll see. He is, of course, leading off today, but no Winker, no Mr. Steal Your Girl, no double birds today for Winker. Left on left, kind of a smart time, I suppose, to start that 5 or 6 game suspension, whatever it is. So, I guess that's not a huge advantage anyway, because you kind of sort of probably wanted Winker in there against Manaea. Who's Marcus Wilson playing shortstop for Seattle? Is that a person? Are you aware of Marcus Wilson?
I am not aware of Marcus Wilson, no, and that would be because he has not had a plate appearance in Major League Baseball before.
Okay, I'm guessing he got called up for Winker. I don't know, but now I'm just kind of curious who he is.
The thing with Manaea too is it's like he's got a 23.8% strikeout rate to right-handed batters over the last 2 years, and 8 out of the 9 guys are righties in this lineup. It's a bit up this year, but like there's a ton of power. Manaea is a guy who's got a long leash, so he sticks in games, but he also gives up a lot of runs, and so I have more interest in the Seattle side than I do Manaea. I think if Frank Waddle is calling you out on Twitter, you might be in tough this week, Dean, because I think he said in there. I'm not sure if he's playing. It must be FanDuel because he mentioned Rodon. He said Rodon, Manoah, and Walker are my only pitchers. Yeah, those would be my only pitchers today on FanDuel as well.
I would throw Urias in there. Walker is just, I guess like he's fine, I suppose. I don't have him as high as you seem to. He doesn't strike anybody out. 17% Ks this year. He's a pretty good contact guy, right? Walks are pretty down. Bad ballpark to pitch in. I feel like, he's okay. So, I was thinking he's been lucky this year, and he always seems to be lucky every single year. His homer in the fly ball this year, Walker, right? 4.6%. And that's possibly due to the fact he throws baseballs in a really positive ballpark for pitchers. Balls dying on the warning track. Well, those possibly wouldn't die, before going over the fence there in Cincinnati. We know Cincinnati were the best ballparks to go up, to hit homers.
He also only gives up home runs 20. He only gives up fly balls 29% of the time.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Producer Steve is jumping in saying Walker has been hot, and he's a Met fan, so he's on top of these things. He's on Twitter every single night, tilting every out for the Mets, which I can appreciate. Again,
though, and I'm talking about if I was playing 150 today, I think I would probably go 60% Manoah, 30% Rodon, 10% Walker.
Yeah. No, I understand. And our ownership stuff, for what it's worth, we'll give it a refresh later as well. 23%. This is FanDuel. Obviously, if he's going to say Rodon. 23% on Rodon. Urias at 21%, which, again, I feel like people don't love playing him, and maybe that's just me, but I'm finally willing to play him. Manoah at 16% seems a little bit down. Manaea at 15%, then Wright at 10%. I think Manaea is a little higher than that, or Wright's a little bit lower than that, just sort of my read. And then Walker at 3%. Yeah, I get it. He's a guy that can go 7 or 8 innings, like strike out 4 or 5. Like, he's okay. He's a fine pitcher.
It's just like it's a gross pitching slate today. So to me, it's more about like I don't see tons of high upside guys, like very high upside guys outside of Manoah and Rodon. And so because of that, it's less about me thinking Taijuan Walker is going to smash and more about me thinking Taijuan Walker could just get through 7 innings unscathed. And if Rodon and Manoah end up failing, then he could be the top one because there's not really much else out there.
I don't agree with the premise. It's a gross pitching slate. I think it's gross. There's a quick drop. There's like 4 or 5 guys in the bucket, and the rest of them are gross. And I don't need more than 4 or 5 guys. So, like, I'm okay with it. That's kind of my read on it. But, like, the back half is really, we all agree on that. But I think, I feel pretty good about Manoah and about Rodon and Urias.
Oh, yeah, those guys I love. It's just Manaea and Urias I'm out
on. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. And, all right, let me jump to DK out of curiosity. Let's see if there's any difference as far as ownership stuff. And I guess Richie Smalls in chat was reading your mind, talking about the Mariners as far as leverage. If Manaea is going to be pretty popular, you're just saying. I was multitasking. I did a poor job catching what you're saying, but it sounded like you're saying that the Mariners are one of your favorite teams to use against the, if you're going to pick on one of the popular pitchers, the Mariners are your best way to do that. Let's see. DK-wise, 43% on Manoah, That's a big point. And Urias at 44. Like I don't love 44% Urias. I'll say that. And then Manaya at 43. So we're basically saying we don't know. Like we're saying all three of them, and that's what everybody's going to do, right? Those are the three clear popular ones. Again, there's no Rodon on DK. Urias, Manoah, Manaya, all grabbing 43, 44% ownership. Them right at 24. Your cheapie Pilkington at 13%. Cueto, not a fun roster at 8%. Walker at 6%. And I always think like Green is like not nuts, especially on a short slate. Like Green has got an incredible arsenal. His repertoire is awesome, but he's 22 years old, still kind of figuring it out. And this problem, of course, is when he gets hit, the ball goes in the air and the ball goes very far. And he's given up more homers than anybody else in all baseball, homers per 9. I think it's 2.43. Anybody over 50 innings or more. It's the tricky one because I'm going to talk about the Mets. I'm sure you're going to talk about the Mets as well. And Polar Bear Alonso looks awesome today. Great ballpark jump as well, but he also can just miss bats. Like he might give up 3 home runs and strike out 9 guys. Like that's not insane. I'd get a pinch if I was playing 100. I'm not. Would you get a pinch of Hunter Green or no? That's it. You talk about the pitchers you like, and that's that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't like playing pitchers against the Mets whatsoever. They don't strike out a lot. They got a lot of power. So I'm going to be out on Hunter Green today. I agree with everything you said about him, just not on this slate against the Mets for me. If you go back to the pitching pool on DraftKings there, kind of the way that I like to sort this one is I would press the lock on Manoah. I always like to talk about it if I were running 150, and it's really similar even if that answer is 20 or 50, 100, up to 150. And so Manoah for me would get the lock button. And then from there, the pitchers I'd be going to would not be Urias, Manaya, Kyle Wright. It would be Pilkington, Cueto, and a touch, like in very small amounts. Like I'd try and divvy this crew up because I'm not very confident in any of them. It's just I'm also not confident in the guys picking up a lot of ownership. But I would divvy it up between Pilkington, Cueto, Dylan Bundy, Taijuan Walker.
Dropping the weather report there in chat. I'm going to take a peek at the weather edge as well. If you guys are premium, y'all know what's going down there. Green, yellow currently in Detroit. Yellow, green in Atlanta. We know about those isolated pop-up storms. Atlanta, that's just the way it is basically all the time, it seems. And the White Sox, yellow, green as well. As far as, so nothing too crazy. Of course, Roth will be on at 5:45 is when the Crunch Time crew is coming on, give or take. Roth, Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood. You got Keith Eyster as well. And I believe, at least earlier, we had some fire emojis, some good hitting environments. Detroit, it looks like we've got a fire emoji on layaway, despite the fact that a 60-game sample, the homers are down a little bit. But I will yield to a fire emoji over the 60 games. Would you agree with that?
Yep, I'm good with that. That's a big enough sample size for me. And we got 150 people watching now. Hit that like button. Every 50, we will get a new home run call. And for the 4th of July, I think I'm going to look around here, pick a Captain America bomb that we can give away.
I'm just checking out the live stream chat. Again, if you guys want to get 1 week free of RotoGrinders Premium, go ahead and hit that. It just says giveaway bot. It's very, very clear. It'll be strolling on through. I believe we'll give it away at some point during the show. I'm going to keep an eye on it as well. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Go to the live stream chat channel. As of right now, it looks like only 12 people have hit that. So you got a 1 in 12 chance as of right now. If you go ahead, well, I guess then it'll be 1 in 13. And if somebody else that does it too, you guys know how math works. And then there's just an interesting gift that we're just going to – that is somebody's having a good time. Scorekeeper 80, I see you there in chat. Also a fire emoji in Cincinnati. So as if you needed any more enhancement for the Mets with the ballpark upgrade, we got fire emoji there and Atlanta because always Atlanta. What is going on your end? I'm hearing some rustling. Is there animals amok? Well,
this is why you need to have the StreamYard open, Dean.
What are you doing?
I was grabbing Captain America.
Oh, okay. I'm just because I got multiple screens. I'm looking at Weather Edge. I'm looking at the Discord. How many different screens can I want to see what's going on, but I just trust that you're there and we're gonna have the conversation.
Win a GPP and get a second computer.
I will win a GPP. You make it sound so easy, TJ.
That's what I did.
Yeah. You bought a house with one, didn't you? Kind of, sort of, somewhat?
Yeah. One GPP was a house. One GPP was what this room is filled with, and one GPP was a new Mac.
Wait, how much money is the Funko Pops and all the paraphernalia? With the 10, 20K? What are we talking about?
I mean, so this, I'll tilt my screen here this way. We got, wrong way. This this Steve Nash jersey beside me here.
Did he help you win? Well, why Nash? Oh, he's Canadian. Is that one of the reasons? I don't know.
He's Canadian, but also my cousin used to play professional ball in Arizona and became good friends with the head of PR for the Suns. And so that was a present I got. It's a game-worn signed Nash jersey.
Is Dan Marley your cousin?
No. But like because it's a game-worn one, it's worth quite a bit. So that everything included in this room, it's probably close to 20.
Oh wow, jeez. What is your, and like some of this aren't just like
heavily insured.
Isn't there some of the stuff you're like not supposed to open up, keep it in the box, keep the value and that kind of thing?
Some things, yeah. For the most part, the reason I have like all the Funkos and stuff in boxes isn't because of value, and it's easier to stack them up when you have so many.
We have a question, very specific question. C Jams wants to know what the dew is in Detroit.
The dew's 60. Apparently, there's lots of dew.
What does that mean? Like I as a completely
gotta ask Kirk Dees. He's got a model.
Well, no, it's not official. It's patent pending. I think that's more of a Roth question than a Kirk Dees question. I'm pretty sure. Kirk Dees might say otherwise. But I'm not exactly sure what that means. But I'm dumb enough to understand, like, okay, fire emoji is good. Fire good. Captain America is not messing around. There he is. All right, he's up. Is what 50 likes? Well, what is his gimmick called? We got the spider bomb. What is his thing called? He's got a shield. What else does Captain America do? What's his
the Super Soldier Smash? It's the Super Soldier Smash.
All right, triple S. Fair enough.
And we're 1 like away too.
Iris in chat says Manoah, Pilkington, and a little Cueto. Yeah, I mean they're going to be in the mix. As a general rule, and like you don't have to do what I do, obviously. I just tend to pay up more for arms when I trust the arms, and arms are more predictive than bats, and I'll just figure the bats out. That's kind of my general, always be flexible. I don't like always and never, and I don't like to get boxed in. That's probably why I don't like 4-4s. Like I don't like to get boxed in, but like I don't hate 4-4s, but like I want to like kind of branch out from it as far as stacks or 5-3s. But what else is worth acknowledging here as far as pitchers? I feel like we did a pretty thorough job. Up top's good. Rodon on Fanduel, right there with Manoah. Urias, meaningful difference in price if you want to go there. We talked about Manaea a little bit against Seattle. Again, Winker not in that lineup for what it's worth. But like Mad Bum, Bundy, Flexen, Hudson, Freeland, we're not messing with any of that nonsense, right?
No, sir, we are not.
Anybody in chat, if is there anything we're missing, if you want us to talk about somebody, by all means, fire away. We're here for this team for the next 40 minutes, and then we'll have a little bit of crosstalk, a little crossover with Ross and Ross. Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. They'll tell you about the dew point in Detroit, amongst other things, if you ask them, I suppose. And they'll take you guys up to the Fanduel lock and beyond, talking DK as well. Otherwise, we can give the summary as far as arms and talk about some sticks. What do you have as far as the arms? Give me the summary.
On FanDuel, I'm sticking up top. It's no matter how many lineups I'm playing, and 90% of them, it would be Manoah in most, and then Rodon number 2. On DraftKings, I would be locking in Alek Manoah, and then I'd be looking to fade some of the chalkier ones like Urias, Manaea, and I would look to get cheaper with my SB2 with Pilkington or Johnny Cueto, maybe a splash of Dylan Bundy, even though I don't like it, and Taijuan Walker as well.
All right. Guardians lineup did come out for game 2 as expected. No Josh Naylor. He got hurt in game 1. Quan, Rosario, J-Ram is playing. Reyes, that's Franmil batting cleanup. Jimenez, Miller, Palacios, Leon, and Mercado. Dodger lineup just came out as well. Both Fanduel and DK seem to goof on Betts' price, especially DK. We'll talk about that in a second. Mookie is leading off. Trey Turner is batting second. You got Freeman, Smith, then Justin Turner, the Leprechaun, Chris Taylor, Thompson, Bellinger, and Alberto. That's pretty standard, right? That's what we were expecting as far as the Dodgers. I think so. Maybe not Alberto, but yeah. All right. Let's talk about this. Your favorite stack, because I don't have a clear-cut stack today. I have a grouping, like tiers, I suppose. Do you have a definitive, like, this is my favorite team and that's that?
Yes, that team for me is the Mets.
Okay.
So the Mets are my number one. We may as well start though with a Super Soldier Smash home run call, as we've hit 50 likes. And the first one of the day today is actually not going to be on the Mets. I'd love to pick somebody like Pete Alonso, but that's too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy. And so the very first Super Soldier Smash of the day for July 4th is someone who's an even better hitter than Alonso, someone who's gone toe-to-toe in a home run derby, but isn't picking up very much ownership today because of the ballpark, and that is Vladimir Guerrero. When he hits a ball hard, it doesn't matter what ballpark he's in, it's going to go far. And so Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is our first Super Soldier Smash of the day.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially on Fanduel. And in the expert survey today, I was talking about first base specifically is pretty loaded on this slate. And if you're playing on Fanduel, you have that utility spot. I was making some lineups before the show, and no surprise, and just kind of making them in the morning as well. I think first base is the best place, best position for your utility spot in Fanduel. Of course, on DK, you're put to the point where you can only roster one first baseman. That's that. But do you find that's the case? Because especially on Fanduel, where like Votto is really, really cheap. I like Olsen a good bit. We'll talk about the polar bear, obviously. First just seems pretty loaded, especially when you compare everywhere else around the horn.
It is. You even got guys like Abreu in there who's cheap and a good matchup. For me, another position I like quite a bit though today is third. So third base is a position that I think maybe I could get a little different to use somebody there at utility. But first and third and outfield are, to me, like by far the three best positions today.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up our ranking stuff now. Just kind of remind me. And I'm looking at the first base position. And of course, also you can throw in some catchers too. Like if you're playing like Alejandro Kirk, or I guess you can play Darno or Will Smith. Obviously, you can play those guys as well on Fanduel, but you don't have to. But it makes it even trickier. But yeah, Alonso, Abreu, Vladdy, Votto, Olsen, Freeman in your Dodgers stacks, who's just really not going to get played much at all. And then you jump to other positions, and it's just second and short. Second is really weak. You know what? Muncie's not playing, right? Is that what I missed? Muncie's not in that lineup, correct? Left on left. You see, was one of our more popular plays. Even left on left, he's just 2.6 on Fanduel forever, just so cheap over there. But the second base position, and we'll go around the horn and we'll talk about this obviously, but just as on a gander, it's rough. Like India, Cronenworth, Polanco, McNeil, Drury. Like I don't know. Just does that affect the way you're doing stuff, or just naturally if you're running lineups? I know you're not doing that tonight, but naturally you just find yourself probably a lot of third baseman, a lot of first baseman in the utility spot, and it's hard to find one good second baseman from what I can see.
I see one that I absolutely adore tonight, but other than that, it does get a little gross.
I wonder who you adore. Like nobody ever adores Jeff McNeil. Like he's fine. He'll give you.
I adore Jeff McNeil.
Oh, I knew that's the guy that you're going to say too. Like he's the bat. Yeah, he gives you a professional at bat. You know when announcers say that? Oh, this guy gives you a professional at bat, right? That's like a nice way of saying he's not that great, but he'll grind and go 6 pitches and then pop out.
Hunter Green strikes out 31% of left-handed bats. He gives up fly ball to 55% of them. He gets hit hard to 36% of them. Jeff McNeil strikes out 10% of the time against right-handed batters. I love him. He's 2,900. I think he's probably my favorite source of salary relief on the slate today.
Well, at the position, he's probably my favorite. Let's see, where did I have him at? I got him. He's in the podium. And I like Polanco.
And he's 28 on Fanduel today.
Yeah. No, I ranked him. I got him there, and I have Muncie ahead of him. But like Muncie's no longer playing baseball, so not this evening, far as I can tell, right? Yeah, we'll go around the horn more. But I just never heard anybody talk like so like how rare is it that McNeil is the guy? Like if you don't have McNeil, you lose. Like it's
That's a good point. It's just more about what you can get with him today. But a good pivot, I think, an under-owned stack that I'm going to like is Toronto. They're facing a lefty that doesn't strike anybody out, and I'm good with getting them today, even though they're in a tougher ballpark. And so Kevin Biggio is somebody you can play in a lefty matchup. He might just walk 3 times and then get hit home by Vladdy or Springer and end up having a really good day. So in a gross position, I think that's somebody who's cheap and under-owned that you can go to, because check that game log. He's Kevin Biggio again. He was hurt. He was in and out of the lineup for a year and a half. And when you're somebody who makes your money on patience and waiting for the ball to be in your spot to hit it out of the park, if you don't have your eye going, you're going to struggle. And so he was finally healthy, and they sent him down to the minors for a couple months, and he just got to play every single day. And now that he got to play every single day, they bump him back up, and he's playing well again. So he's somebody that I think you can go to as well.
He is a source of salary savings, and I do agree he's been better, obviously, and the injuries were taking a toll. And I was watching the Toronto broadcast. They were talking about the same thing, basically, about him like just needing a bunch of at-bats. But looking at his left-on-left stuff historically, his ISO is 69. That is not nice. That's the rare instance. not nice, TJ. 69 ISO is brutal. Now, you could also make the argument that like Irvin's not spectacular, and there's a really good chance he only faces him twice, right? You know, Irvin's decent chance Irvin's gone from the game. He's not going 3 full rotations through this Toronto lineup, so maybe he won't be left on left. And it's not like Irvin's somebody we're afraid of anyway, just as a general thought. Now, there's more shenanigans going on. What should I be watching? What is happening over there?
I was having a drink.
What kind of mics do you have? Are you like, why?
They're really good. They pick up everything.
I know you started a new podcast today, and that maybe you souped up. What kind of mics did you buy with your GBP wins? Because they very.
I got the Blue Yeti here. I'll turn the gain down a little bit so it's not picking up quite so much. But yeah, we have all the audios and videos tuned up to 10 here with the 2 podcasts we got rolling right now.
Did want to show some love to Keith Eyster. Eyes. He'll be on the show later. He wrote an article today over at Scores and Odds. Scores and Odds are a premium product, but there are some free articles over there. Do feel free to check out scoresandodds.com. It's your number one place for all things sports betting, daily expert picks, analysis, tools, all that good stuff. Lets you know like where the best bets are depending on when you're price shopping, and that matters a ton. It's a way to get an edge in sports betting. But this happens to be a free article, and he's giving out some player props. I'm not sure if these lines have moved since they've been published, but basically if you're betting over or under on strikeouts, you want to know Keith's take. He's got a Manaea take, he's got a Manoah take, and he's got a Dylan Bundy take, who I want to say from Cheese's article today, I'm not a big game log guy, like I'll do it, but I think Bundy's gone like 4 or 5 straight games in a row without maybe the absence of one or less strikeouts, which that seems suboptimal, right? There's a reason why we didn't mention Bundy in the pitchers.
Yeah, I did actually mention him on DraftKings as a potential SP2 option, but as my least favorite of all the ones I mentioned.
He is 6'2" as far as the asking price, and he had that 7 strikeout. I guess we'll call it an outlier against Arizona, but otherwise, if you throw that game out, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 his last so many games. Why did he only throw 60 pitches in Colorado? Oh, I think he must have been. That's just so weird. Like some managers, 60 pitches in 6 innings, and some managers just think, well, 6 innings is 6 innings is 6 innings, and who am I to pretend I'm an MLB manager? But that seems kind of weird, like. 5 innings at 100 pitches seems like more work than 6 innings at 60 pitches. That's just me, but I don't get it. But he was pitching really well, and they said 6 innings. That's it. You're done, kid. All right. By the way, go ahead.
No, done, kid to Dylan Bundy just made me laugh.
Yeah, I don't know why I was playing the role of like crusty old manager, I suppose. But Dodgers are our number 1 consensus stacks on the board for what it's worth. Dodgers, Atlanta, where it's hot. They're facing not a very good pitcher. Mets are 3rd. I had them 2nd. I had a hard time just like separating them, and was sort of one of my takes. Just like I'm going to let ownership dictate stuff, because I don't clearly feel the Dodgers are better than Atlanta or the Mets. I think they're all kind of sort of good, and sim it 1,000 times, and I think they're all sort of they're going to have their day. Then the White Sox, and then Toronto. But otherwise, it's super concise is kind of the point I'm getting at as far as the teams that are going to be stacked. Dodgers, Atlanta, Mets, White Sox, your Blue Jays, good offense, bad ballpark, good opponent. On the road, which is a nice little perk. And then a little shout out for Minnesota. A little bit of love for Minnesota from Mr. Tuttle. I know you see like the Mets first. How do you agree with the rest of that as far as an overall? Dodgers, Atlanta, Mets, White Sox, Toronto, Minnesota. How do you feel about that as far as consensus?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. The Dodgers are picking up a lot of ownership, and they're in Dodger Stadium, which they've had pretty aggressive home road splits this year to actually being worse at home because it's such a good pitcher's park. And I think the Dodgers will probably be a team I'll try and get underweight to the field on today. But I really like the Mets are my favorite. I like Toronto and GPPs. I like Atlanta. I like San Francisco is another team I like quite a bit. The White Sox and the Twins I'll mix in as well. And the final team I'm interested in for deep field GPPs would be Seattle. You're muted. You are muted, Dean.
Rookie mistake. I was dropping dimes, man. I was saying some dynamite stuff. I promise you. I don't remember what it was. It's already out of my brain, and I forgot it already. But it was some solid material for sure. The Mets have a 5.67 team total, 10 total in that game right now. Looks like that's jumped up a little bit as the days progressed. Again, it's hot in Cincinnati. It's a hitter's ballpark. Wind blowing in, but just barely. Not going to chase me away, obviously. We see the Dodgers at a 5.54 team total against Kyle Freeland. The Betts price, again, I don't know what happened here. I suppose it's with him coming back from the IL. I don't know why, but DK has got him at 4.3, which is, I don't know, 1K too cheap. Fanduel's got him at 3.6, which is $500 too cheap. And I imagine that's going to be reflected in the ownership as well. Let's see what we have as far as our ownership reflecting. And, Buxton's an awesome play, and we'll talk about some other studs as well. Acuna, Polar Bear, Alonso. Alonso might get cut a little bit just because first base is so tough, especially on DK where you can only roster one. The competition is just pretty good. At outfield, you get the roster three of them. Is, let's see, ownership-wise, I'm going to guess. Yeah, Betts is the top guy ownership-wise as far as our projections on DK by almost 5 or 6 points. The 24% ownership on Betts on DK, no surprise. And as far as FanDuel, we'll check that out as well. And we got to give it a refresh because you know who was number one because second base is so terrible despite the fact it was going to be left on left is Muncy. And again, Muncy not playing baseball today. So McNeil's not going to be like heavily owned. What's better than heavily owned chalk Jeff McNeil and all his ground balls?
We love Jeff McChalk, but I got to ask you, Dean, how many people in the Colorado Rockies lineup do you think have over a 20% strikeout rate?
Well, I mean, I'm a good listener, and I pick up on the framing of what you're saying. And I did look at this earlier today as far as Colorado, and yes, they're very contact heavy. Probably some small samples in there too. And I'm not going to cheat, but I'm going to say
no small samples.
No, there's no I guess you were stretching it back to last year because Brian.
Yeah, small as Connor Joe. I'm stretching it back to last year.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I get that. Is Jonathan Daza in the lineup?
Yep.
I'm going to say it's 0.
There's 2, and they're Chris Bryant and CJ Cron.
Oh yeah, I should have known that one. What am I doing? That was rookie.
Urias has only a 21% strikeout rate to righties this year. Don't play him, Dean. Don't play him.
Well, I mean, look, you stretch it back to last year: 30% versus lefties, 23% versus righties. I think his Ks, though. I think his Ks have spiked recently. If that does something for you. So recently, 38% to lefties and 28% versus righties. That's last 30 days. I mean, in good form, I guess we can say. Does that do anything for you, or is that like too small of a sample?
It's just not a guy I'm interested in going to today. Like it. I think if I'm playing one or the other, I'd rather play Rockies, but it's in Dodger Stadium, so I'm not doing that either.
Yeah. Trying to see anything else interesting as far as. Yeah, I hear you. But also, win equity is better than anybody else, if that matters to you. You don't need the win, of course. Like, those 4 points are nice. They're not guaranteed. And also on Fanduel, like, he's also a guy that can get squeezed in the 6th inning. If he's at 95 pitches or something like that, he can get the hook and not go 6. We've seen that plenty as well. It's just a salary thing. And again, I say this, I prefer not to have to play him on Fanduel, but I'm okay. Open up an extra bat or two if I have to. No McMahon in that lineup for Colorado, by the way. You mentioned Sam Fran on Fanduel specifically, and historical lefty masher Wilmer Flores, Darren Ruff annihilates lefties as well. And we know Mad Bum, he's in the back 9. He's on hole basically 17 or 18 at this point in his career, just playing out the string, and he's got a couple more years on his contract. Otherwise, it's just not good. It's not good these days as far as Mad Bum, somebody we used to respect as a hitter. But, I like Flores and Ruff and Longoria, another guy historically. When did Yermin Mercedes become a Giant? When did that happen?
He's been there a little while.
Really? Have I just flat out missed this?
Yeah.
I saw it yesterday, but I thought he was on a different team. I didn't think to look what team to look for. He's been in the Giants for a while.
He's back.
He said 5 at-bats this season.
But by a while, I mean like a couple weeks. Sorry, I mean like a couple weeks. It's been funny, though, because I'm pretty sure they signed him, and then he started a game at designated hitter for the team before he was ever in the minors for them. And then they sent him down, and then they brought him back up, and they sent him back down before he played again. It's been a funny back and forth. That's why it's felt like a while in my head. But no, you're right. It hasn't been that long.
Do you know a team Billy Hamilton's currently on?
No idea.
I didn't know either. And I saw today he played for the Marlins.
Huh.
Yeah. And just a heads up, by the way, if you can get ahead of this in some way, tomorrow it's the Marlins versus Noah Syndergaard, which means we have potentially Billy Hamilton and John Birdie stealing 1,000 bases against Noah Syndergaard.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah. Hit up your local sports book if you can find.
Nothing gets me excited like playing John Birdie.
If Mattingly, this will be the brain dead test. If he doesn't start Billy Hamilton versus Syndergaard, brain dead, right? That's it. Like, why else is he on your team?
Yeah, true.
I don't. They've had a lot of injuries, obviously too. But let's go around the horn. Let's give our favorite plays position by position. We'll start with the catcher. Of course, you don't play catcher on Fanduel. You can if you want. Sure, have at it. Enjoy yourself. DK is going to force you to do so. And if there's somebody you want us to talk about and chat, we're missing somebody, throw a name out there and it's makes sense for the conversation. I'll do my best to keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll bring them in. We'll see if it comes up organically. But catching, what do you got for me?
So I'm not playing on DK today, so I'm not because of that. There's probably not too many I'm going to play, but I do like obviously Will Smith up top is probably going to be the best option. I like Kirk quite a bit. He's just having a phenomenal year. He's going to be an all-star. In GPPs, if you want to punt, somebody I think that could be interesting would be Carson Kelly. He's batting 7th. He's hitting the ball very well lately. Eric Haas is somewhat interesting as well. But, Jeffers is even fine. Play somebody in your stack. That's really it for me today. Nobody stands out in particular. Play somebody in your stack. Or if you just need to punt, go all the way to the bottoms with somebody like Jeffers.
Haas has got some power. I wish it was a little bit cheaper than 4K, but that's fine. And Raleigh at 3.5 looks pretty good. Speaking of picking Amanaya, I'm okay with that as well. Jeffers, I assume, he's batting 9th. No Sanchez still. But he's on the road, so he's got a better chance those 4 ABs, so I feel pretty good as my flat out full punt. But you're right. Kirk is pretty much assured of an all-star spot. Good for him. Congratulations to Alejandro. They might have 2 or 3, maybe 4 all-stars there in Toronto. I don't know if you guys are stuffing the ballot or not, but they're justified as well.
I think at the very least you'll get Vlad, you'll get Springer, you'll get Manoah. So at least 4. You never know. I haven't looked at the voting, but you never know if somebody like if a reliever or a Gaussman or a Bichette slip in there. I'm not sure.
All right, let's jump to first base. First base again, we kind of referenced it a couple times how it's pretty loaded, and on DK we're expecting ownership to be well spread out. So our projections right now have between 11 and 8% ownership amongst Alonso, Abreu, Kirilov batting what, sixth, 2.7K. Vaughn is kind of a cheapie batting second. Vato, Matt Olson, and Freeman. Like, wow, that's really compact as far as our ownership projections on DK. Because, again, you can only roster one of these guys. Vladdy was not in that mix, for the record. And you're getting kind of a discount on Vlad. He's typically a little bit more than 5'3". But, you know, the ballpark stinks, but whatever. When he hits it, who cares? And Irvin's not somebody we're afraid of. We kind of touched on first, but feel free to, you know, elaborate further as far as first base today.
Yeah, so I want to mention quick, too, we got 200 people watching now. Hit the like button. As soon as we get up to 100, you get the special Super Soldier Serum Bomb number 2. Super Soldier Serum Smash. And
I didn't want to say anything, but yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Super Soldier Serum Smash. And first one was Vlad Guerrero here at first base. Nice, low-owned GPP play who could hit a bomb. Pete Alonso is my favorite option at the position. Joey Votto is a great salary saver. Jose Abreu, 3,900, just a great option as well. Although, like, I could see Jose Abreu picking up a bit more ownership than that. He's cheap on FanDuel as well. I think an interesting pivot in a not that you really need to, but an interesting pivot in a Chicago stack is Andrew Vaughn there instead. But my favorite guy here is Pete Alonso by far, and then my top tournament option is Vladdy.
Yeah, also on FanDuel, like you got Ruff at 2.6. You can throw him in the outfield as well. I probably would, just because, you know, more versatility there. Dom Smith, a flat-out full punt, 2K against Green. There is some opportunity cost, but we've talked about Green's ability to yield homers or subdue them, or lack thereof, I suppose, however you want to look at that. But just some good little salary savers there if you're stacking the Mets. Dom Smith, not so terrible there as a 2K flat-out punt. D Fresh in chat says, yeah, you got to get first in order to steal. Yeah, you know, I think Hamilton actually tried to do a sacrifice bunt today. One of those, like, he's trying to bump for a hit, but you can also give it a sacrifice if it doesn't work out, that kind of thing. But maybe he's a pinch runner tomorrow. Maybe we'll see how that goes down. But, yeah, I'm just curious. I want to see Birdie and Hamilton with a double steal scenario. Curious what the sports books are going to have as far as stolen bases for those guys. So basically, you get on first. It's a free pass to second and possibly even third as well. We did touch on second as well, TJ, and it hasn't gotten much better in the last 10 minutes. Your love. What was the word you used for Jeff McNeil? How much you loved him? What was the adjective?
Oh, I adore Jeff McNeil. Just a great personality. What I will say at second base today, it's similar to catcher. Play somebody in your stack. Santiago Espinal and Kevin Biggio, I think, are interesting options in a Jays stack. The Mets are my favorite stack of the day, so that's why I'll be playing a lot of Jeff McNeil. But Polanco or Arias are fine in Minnesota stacks. India's fine. Donovan and Gorman are both fine for St. Louis. The only guy at second I'd be somewhat, I think, interested in as a one-off would be Jake Cronenworth.
I just noticed something on the slate. We have a lot of reverse split pitchers, just kind of throwing out there. Walker, Flexen, Urias has been reverse splitsy at times. Bundy and Cueto, just something a little bit you don't really notice too often, but I all kind of pitching today. Some of the reverse splits guys, especially the right on right guys. I didn't know. I'm looking at the bat and Roth. Cardi's got Urias as a reverse splits guy, which I didn't think of him that way, but maybe I'm not. Who am I to doubt the bat? Let's jump to third base, hot corner. Who do you like at third tonight?
So at third base today, not enough likes here for me to get ready for the Spidey Bomb yet. That's okay. We'll put her the Super Soldier Serum Smash, but that's okay. We'll put it away. We'll save it for later. You got Manny Machado up top, which I think is a solid option. Eduardo Escobar, Evan Longoria, Wilmer Flores, they're all fine. I really like Austin Riley either in an Atlanta stack or as a one-off. Matt Chapman is somebody I think is very interesting as well. Justin Turner is fine against the lefty, but I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be underweight on the Dodgers today. And on DraftKings, you can never go wrong playing Jose Ramirez, and he's just still way too cheap there. So he's the top option. Yeah.
It's just a matter of like trying to figure out the salary cap stuff. But like in theory, he's a good price over there. I feel like you sort of gave it away that Captain America's next play is going to be a third baseman to hit a homer.
Oh, I was just going to get mentally prepared. We got short next. Outfield is soon. I was just getting ready to how I wanted to time it out, plan the speech in my head. Because, Cap is really good with his speeches. I don't want to disappoint.
What's a famous quote from Captain America? You should know this, right?
So many. There's
top
so
of,
many.
Like, what's one that I would know? I don't know if I've watched his movies before. I'm pretty sure I haven't.
You got whatever it takes in Endgame. I'm with you till the end of the line. I can do this all day. There's lots, man. There's lots.
All right. I didn't know. Does he have a catchphrase, Captain America?
The closest in the movies would probably just be like Avengers Assemble.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like I've heard that before, but like more than one guy says that, I think, right?
No, he's the guy.
He's the guy. He's okay. Is he like
when they need to be assembled, he assembles.
All right. Fair enough. Let's move on. I thought Escobar was going to be the guy. Like the more we go up, the sneakier you get as far as yielding home runs. And of course, that's just not you picking it. This will be Captain America. You don't influence the whatever he spits out. That's what you regurgitate. That's just how it works. Mm. You're just a medium, if you will.
An avatar.
Jump to shortstop. What do you like at short tonight?
Yeah, so at short, I think your top option is probably going to be Trey Turner, but I like Francisco Lindor at a small discount. Quite a bit better. Tim Anderson, I think, is fine. Carlos Correa, Bo Bichette, Darby Swanson, they're all great. It's a very strong position today up top, and I'm not looking to punt this one with one of these lower price guys at the bottom. I want to be playing one of these guys up top. So Swanson is one of my favorite for one-offs, but Francisco Lindor is going to be my favorite overall.
So the way I see it is the way you see it. The collection of Lindor, Trey Turner, Tim Anderson, Carlos Correa, Swanson, Bichette, somebody or a couple somebodies from that grouping is likely to have a big night. And, if you're looking to save salary, put those guys up the collection of Polanco, McNeil, India, Cronenworth, Drury, Arise. Point being, I'd rather save salary. If I have to save salary at one of those places, I want to save that second before I'm saving it short. Make sense?
Exactly. Big time.
And I don't know who that second baseman is. It could be whoever. Because I don't know how many guys from second are going to excel. Like, of course, anything happens in baseball, goofiness, yada, yada. But, like, shortstop is pretty strong, those first six. Lindor, Turner, Anderson, Correa, Swanson, and Bichette. What's going on in the chat? Anything interesting? We missed it. We got still like 10 minutes or so. I'm kind of coasting in. We got 10-ish minutes when Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth comes in. We got Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, two-time millionaire winner, as well as Keith Eyster. I dropped this article in earlier. I'll drop it again for the people if you're not aware. Also, is the contest still running right now or is it officially over? The giveaway has ended. And let's say, if you guys missed it, y'all missed it, I'm sorry. You got to get here earlier. We gave away 1 week free to RG Premium. Producer Devin was hosting it in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord. We got 2 winners, and they are Scorekeeper 80 and Smokey CA 14. So congratulations to them. And Devin seems to run this, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, a couple times a week. That's how it goes. And also, I do see my opponent, Naked HD. We took him on last week in the head-to-head contest in the hashtag Beat Mean Dean contest, and you can win 1 week free. No, 1 month free of RotoGrinders Premium, all the sports with the exception of NASCAR, all the tools, all the articles, all the goods, all the rankings, all the projections, everything. You get the use the optimizer. You get yourself some swag as well. All you got to do is beat me in head-to-head contest. Challenge me on Twitter. Find me on Twitter. We're going to play Wednesday. I'm playing somebody on Wednesday. Want to get a good opponent. The more creative you are with your challenge, the more likely you are to be picked. Hashtag Beat Mean Dean. Go to at DFS_almanac. It's on the screen. And just put a teensy bit of effort into it, and you got a decent chance. We'll see. We've had some.
And everyone is at home today, home from work, get a holiday, And we're giving a free show on YouTube, sponsored by Fanduel, with the next Crunch Time show coming up, with the best baseball mind in the industry in Cheese, the best weather mind in the industry in Roth, and Ice is just a phenomenal guy who's also good at fantasy. Hit the like button, because it's the least you could do for some free content while everybody is here roto grinding, if you will.
And you got Captain America lurking, potential home run call. And how many more likes? How many do we need there, TJ?
We need 27 to get Cap's next home run call. And I mean, he wants to give it. It's his birthday. July 4th is Steve Rogers, Captain America's birthday. That's why today's a holiday. You don't want to disappoint that.
I mean, it's just, I don't want to grovel. I don't want to beg. That's just not my personality, but it's starting to get embarrassing.
I will.
I'm starting to get embarrassed. Like, I got to look at myself in the mirror. I don't want to look at myself in the mirror right now, but in theory, I can't look at myself in the mirror and know that we're still 25 likes short. Good Lord. It's shameful, to be honest. But all right, well, let's talk about the outfield. We've kind of touched on it already as far as bets. No surprise. He's the clear and obvious best play when you factor in matchup and his price. His price is goofy today. 3.6 on FanDuel. I think it's 4.3 on DK. That's kind of absurd. That seems wrong. Other studs are awesome as well, like Marte, Springer, Buxton, who had that awesome walk-off the other day. Minnesota, they were involved in 4 walk-offs consecutive days. They got walked off twice versus Cleveland back-to-back, and I think they had walk-offs on their end, positive walk-offs. They've had some fun games of late. Torturous, probably, if you're a fan, but some good stuff as well. How are you tackling the outfield position?
So I think the top options overall are Betts number 1, Buxton number 2, Luis Robert number 3. My favorite salary saving option is going to be Gavin Sheets. Quan on DK is still a great option as well. But the 3 guys up top are my favorites. Luis Robert, that's just too cheap for him too. As much as Mookie Betts is too cheap, and he is, that's still way too cheap for Robert. And so I like him. I like Buxton. Marte, I do like as well, but he's my least favorite of that group. We had somebody asking in YouTube, would you rather play Nimmo or Marte? And I mean, if I have the salary, it's most definitely Marte. But and on DK, it's most definitely Marte. But on FanDuel, where Nimmo, you get an $800 or $900 discount on him. I'd point per dollar wise, I'd take Nimmo. But if you do have the salary straight up, I would go Marte. We also got some cheap San Fran guys here on FanDuel that I like quite a bit. George Springer, I really like in tournaments. I don't think he's going to pick up a lot of ownership. Ronald Acuna, I like quite a bit because he's more expensive than these other great hitters like Betts and Buxton. So he's probably not going to pick up much ownership, but he's a fantastic option as well.
Rosario.
And Max Kepler, of course, 2,700 on FanDuel is just great.
Eddie Rosario's back in our lives. He's playing outfield today for the Braves, 3-4 on DK, but Frank says
2K flat on FanDuel.
Yeah. If you need the salary savings, sure. Has he been playing in the minors? Has he been hurt? Well, what has he been doing these days? What has he been up to? Rosario?
Something to do with his eye. He was getting it fixed. He could see the ball well, and so he was getting something fixed with his eye, and now he's back. I would be okay with playing him in a stack, but I'm not one-offing him. I might have lost Dean, it kind of looks like there. Dean is frozen on me, so that's all right. I'm just going to keep chatting away. And another guy that I didn't mention that I like quite a bit is Teoscar Hernandez. And so, Steve, if any of the Crunch Time guys are in here early, feel free to just send them in. But Teoscar Hernandez is another guy I didn't mention, and I think is a pretty solid play today. I do find myself going to these San Fran guys quite a bit, though. I mentioned that I like the Mets as my favorite stack of the day, and that's a lot of these guys are infield eligible. The Alonsos, the McNeils, the Escobars, Francisco Lindor, and so I find myself liking teams like Minnesota, San Fran, and Chicago, where I can get a lot of their team in the outfield as my secondary stack. But outside of that, I don't mind just the idea of going with some one-offs too. The San Fran guys like Slater and because obviously I need to save salary with this build. So I don't mind the guys like Slater and Ruff in there, as well as Max Kepler for Minnesota. And then another sneaky option I think you can go with as well is the back half of this Atlanta lineup. So Rosario, Michael Harris, you put those guys in there as well, and you keep you're able to save some salary, and you get a team in a very good spot. Even though it's not the top of their lineup, it's still a very good team in a very good spot. Gavin Sheets is probably the best overall option for just pure salary savings, especially on DraftKings. But that pretty much rounds it up for outfield. We are 15 likes away from our Super Soldier Serum Smash. Only 15 away. We got do it for Dean. Actually, his internet cut out because we didn't have enough likes. That's one of the reasons why we asked for it so much, is because Dean has a deal with his internet provider that if he doesn't have enough likes, his internet just cuts out after a certain amount of time. That's what it's paid for. Fanduel also sponsors Dean's internet because unfortunately he just can't get good internet where he is. So he needs Fanduel to sponsor it. If you have joined late and you missed what we talked about at pitcher, Dean and I are on the same page up top on Fanduel. It's a big Rodon and Manoah night. Manoah is my favorite. I would be probably going, even if I was running 150, I'd be probably having 60% Manoah, 45% Carlos Rodon, and then just sprinkling in a couple other guys in small doses. On DraftKings, I do have, Frank, that's a good question on YouTube there. Do you have a favorite San Fran guy under 3K Fanduel util? Yes, I sure do. And I just need us to get 9 more likes for us to, I just need us to get 9. Oh yeah, 60 and 45. Yeah, 110. You're right. I meant 60 and 35. Thank you, Peter, in YouTube chat for acknowledging that. That's bad math. Dean's back, but
have I been Wally pipped? Is it over? Is my run? You had your 2 minutes to shine, and
I officially have taken your job here. If we're talking about pitching, it's the guys up top on FanDuel we like. On DraftKings, I'm trying to avoid the chalky SP2s. I'm locking in Alek Manoah, but I'm avoiding Arias. I'm avoiding Manoah. Sorry, Manaea. I like Manoah. I don't like Manaea. Manoah's good. Manaea's bad. Not in general, just for on today's slate for me. And the guys I like at SP2s, I'll sprinkle in the Pilkingtons, Taiwan Walkers, maybe even a little bit of Dylan Bundy in there, Johnny Cueto, stuff like that. I don't love it, but I'd rather sprinkle those guys in smaller doses and have Manoah locked in. And we are just 5 likes away for the Spidey Bomb. And I trust you guys were going to hit it. So, sorry, not the Spidey Bomb. Oh, the Super Soldier Serum Smash.
Spidey got mad. He got Wally pipped.
Spidey's mad. Yeah, he's the one who's out. We saw he started working for Sirius XM Radio, and so we shipped him out and replaced him with the birthday boy. And that guy today, and it's also the answer to Frank Waddell's question for my favorite San Fran guy under 3K on FanDuel. And that answer is Evan Longoria. He's going to be hitting homer against his old teammate today.
Oh man, is that a revenge game? That's like a sneaky way of saying revenge game without actually stooping. The best home run hitter in that game is Wilmer Flores. That's what you want. Wilmer against a lefty, no?
It's Evan for me. I'm going Evan Longoria over Wilmer Flores today because Steve Rogers said so. Evan
Longoria played baseball for the Diamondbacks?
No, but Matt played for San Fran.
Oh, wait, what? Longoria's got revenge against Bad Bum for being like a bad teammate or something, or too ornery?
You're the only one who said revenge. All I said was Longoria going up against his old teammate.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm a bad listener. I thought you were implying that it was. Yeah. You know what? I completed that sentence in my head. Yeah.
But also in the last two seasons, what do you think Wilmer Flores' ISO is against lefties?
Look, don't kill the narrative. Like, lefty mashers are indefinite. Like when you're once a lefty,
I'm all aboard lefty mashing Evan Longoria today. But what's Wilmer Flores' ISO against lefties?
It's got to be higher than Longo, right? It has to be.
Wilmer Flores, give me a number.
Higher than Longo.
158 is Wilmer Flores' ISO against lefties the last 2 years. Evan Longoria's 281.
Well, somebody just got served. That is surprising that's that high.
For Longoria, it is only 133 at bats. Like, it's a pretty small sample size for him. Not tiny, but 133 because obviously he was hurt. But ever since he's come back, he's just absolutely smashed lefties. 281 ISO, 403 WOBA, and 133 at bats. Strikes out only 21% of the time. Walks 13% of the time. Gets the ball up in the air, 45% fly ball rates, and he hits the ball hard 46% of the time, which is second most on the team against lefties. So Longoria is Super Soldier Serum Smash number 2, Vladdy Guerrero's number 1, Met stack are my favorite stack of the day, and Alek Manoah is my favorite pitcher.
Manny in chat isn't locking 20 minutes for the main. Okay, Manny, so it's 25 minutes for the FanDuel lock. Crunch Time crew is coming in shortly, and I presume they will stick around as long as questions are being peppered in. And if you're ever in the YouTube chat and you're wondering why is Roth ignoring my question? Well, because the questions are prioritized for premium members in the RotoGrinders.com premium Discord. You go to the MLB Crunch Time chat, and if he's ever searching for questions, if there's less questions coming in, he's got some time to kill. He's happy to hit up the YouTube streets as well. So just know that, like, he's not ignoring you. Roth should be knocking on the door momentarily. Yeah, here he is. It's Kevin Roth, who may or may not know what twins are. What's up, Roth?
Hey, what's happening? What's up, everybody? I mean, I may be ignoring you, to be clear. I might be ignoring you. But yes, in general, it's Discord first for our premium members and then the YouTube chat.
What's going on, Roth? How was the fourth treating you and otherwise? Everything all good?
It's pretty good, man. It's a glorious celebration as usual. I think I've had too many beers.
Oh, what number are we on right now?
No. I don't mean I'm drunk now. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I just drink a beer. I'm like, I'm just too full. I'm getting too old to enjoy beer. Has that happened to anyone else?
I've always been too old to enjoy beer.
Yeah, like the day I was born and every day since.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible. I mean, yeah.
They're delicious, but now I'm just drinking them. I just feel really full, and I'm like trying to enjoy it, but I'm enjoying them less. It's disturbing.
What beer are you drinking? Like Guinness? Because that's pretty full.
No. This is like I only drink Pacifico. It's light Mexican beer, but if you drink like 8 of them, you just get full. Just, you know.
What round are we on right now?
Yeah, like 4. Yeah, it's pretty early.
That means
you can drink 8 of anything and you'll be full. Drink 8 glasses of water and you'll be full. Like this.
Well, why the hell would I drink 8 glasses of water? I don't even understand.
Well, you would. I'm not suggesting you do. I'm saying you'd be full. Like, of course you're full. What are you talking about?
That's what happens when you drink something with such low alcohol content.
Right. Well, someone in the chat said switch to Scotch, and that I may be headed that direction. Hey, look who else we got. We got Cheese and Ice joining us. How are you guys?
Well, we're great. It's America's birthday. I don't know how TJ's doing up there, like feeling like I got to celebrate something, but I don't know what it's going to be.
It's Steve Rogers, Captain America's birthday today.
Is it now?
Yeah. That's what the holiday is for. That's why you guys are celebrating.
That makes sense.
I honestly did not know that. It's good to know. I support that as well.
It's Captain America, I believe, is the joke, is that it's Captain America's birthday because it's America's birthday.
Right.
Yeah. And he was born, I believe, July 4th, 1918. So he's 103 years old today. And he gave us the Super Soldier Serum Smash as the home run calls of the day, and they were Vladimir Guerrero as well as Evan Longoria.
Shocking, you chose a Blue Jay. I'm sorry, Steve Rogers chose a Blue Jay.
Steve Rogers loves Canada. He thinks everyone should have universal health care.
Is there a great Canadian superhero that I'm not aware of? Who's like the greatest Canadian superhero?
Well, probably Wolverine.
Oh, Canadian. Okay, I didn't realize he was a Canadian origin. All right, cool.
The great hoser of Agbin. I don't know. There's probably some. There's got to be somebody.
Wolverine's Canadian. Deadpool's Canadian.
All right, that's a pretty solid one too.
Yeah,
okay,
Deadpool.
Well, we are on a limited time today, right? I mean, as much as I love,
yeah, we should probably
kick us out. Kick us out.
Yeah,
myself and TJ.
I don't kick
inside. Yeah. Irish goodbye.
Okay, he's just out, and he's out. Appreciate it as always, guys. Hey, joined by a couple of the sharpest minds in the biz, as always. Welcome to it. It's Crunch Time, sponsored by FanDuel, and we got the GOAT. That's what they call him in the streets, Dave Potts, aka Cheeseisgood. How you doing, Cheese?
Doing all right. It was great to not have a whole bunch of early baseball for content purposes, but we got a nice little, manageable size slate here. Got some hot dogs in already, of course, so everything's good.
We did have baseball? Did you just not do content?
No, I mean there weren't any slates. I mean 3 games was the biggest slate, so there was nothing to do. I didn't have to write an article, or is what I mean.
Nice, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, happy to hear that. So we got the GOAT, and then they call him the Kid. That's what they call him. It's Keith Eyster, the Iceman. They call him the Kid. He's the up and comer. What's up, Ice?
So some of us did have to do content this morning. I was on lineup alerts and projections. So my day got started about 5 a.m. this morning because I'm on the West Coast here as well. So a nice early 8 a.m. baseball start for me.
That's just brutal. And it was multiple slates, right? It was like,
yeah, it's been all day long.
All day.
And it's not over yet. I'm still waiting on the Toronto lineup. So if that Toronto lineup comes through, I may just have to have Dave take over the show here for a couple of minutes.
I did not know that Keith was up doing projections. I would not have said anything about not having to work early.
Way to rub it in. Yeah. The irony of holidays in this business is that you just have to work extra because generally on holidays, the games are just spaced longer. Hey, well, let's talk about this slate, guys, because lock is coming up. We got a split slate thing happening here. So let's talk about what the game plan is. Cheese, can you give me an overview, a breakdown of what's going on with the two
very
sites?
first thing before we do, just like we won a lot of bats in Minnesota, that Chicago game. Are we good in that White Sox game?
There is a 0% chance you should fade bats in Chicago.
Okay.
Weather-wise, there's 2 games that I'm watching at Chicago and Atlanta. I think both of them have a shot of a delay. And even in Atlanta, like I could see a world where something goes horribly wrong and there's a postponement. Don't act like that's a legitimate outcome. That's just a worst case scenario thing that I worry about. Play whatever you want as far as bats go. Pitchers, I could understand being a little bit more nervous about.
Okay. So the big picture is the bats are very spread out. There's a couple players here and there that are kind of chalky, but overall, there's enough to like that. You do not need to play or fade anything based on ownership. Like we're talking a bunch of guys and teams who are going to be 12 to 15% owned. It's a lot to like, but it's spread out. Pitching side's a little bit chalky. It's kind of focused in on kind of 3 chalk guys and then a few pivots. But overall, you can just play who you like and you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. Well, do you want to start talking about some of the pitchers?
I do. So FanDuel, which is locking soon, is totally different because you have Carlos Rodon, who you don't have on DK. I think just play Rodon on FanDuel in most lineups, or at least your cash lineup, your kind of go-to first build. Alek Manoah is an excellent. It's not different, but he'll be lower owned than Rodon, basically the same price. If you have to have a cheap pitcher on FanDuel, which you really don't, but Bumgarner is playable at 7.2 if you need a cheap FanDuel pitcher. But then DraftKings wise, Manaea, Manoah, and Urias are the 3 chalk guys. We should see them all somewhere near 50% owned. The vast majority of my lineups are just a mix and match of 2 of those 3, as are everybody's lineups. Kyle Wright is the other like spend up to be a little different, but he's not like off the radar. You're allowed to play Taijuan Walker or Hunter Green. I have a couple of Walkers in there. I'm not playing Green today personally. And then the cheap nonsense, it's not really that cheap anymore. Like DraftKings has really squeezed the pricing where the expensive guys are like 9K and the cheap guys are 6K. So I have like 2 out of 50 lineups with Fluffy Pilkington. You could play Alex Fado or Dylan Bundy at 6K, but you really don't need that salary. So I have almost all my lineups are Manaea, Manoah, and Urias with a couple of pivots to Wright and Walker.
Okay. Ice, Manaea, Manoah, Urias. Are you on board with all 3? And is there anything else you do like?
I am on board with all 3, and Rodon also on FanDuel. Rodon is tough to figure out. His strikeout stuff has kind of come and gone this year. He's been absolutely elite at times, and then other games he's just kind of been average. So I do like Manoah and Manaea just as much as him. Manaea in particular is not thought of as a big strikeout guy, but Seattle does have a pretty high strikeout rate. I believe they have the 6th highest strikeout rate against lefties. So Manaea has a little bit more upside than typical today. All 3 of them are really great, and I'm just going to spend up as much as possible. Hunter Green and Taijuan Walker are probably the two if you're looking to save a little bit of money. Hunter Green is the most volatile on the slate. He's giving up a lot of hard contact and a lot of fly balls in a park that's really good for home runs. But he could also come out and strike out a bunch of guys. So I sprinkled him on it a little bit just because of the strikeout upside, but I do like the Mets bats against him just as much.
Okay. Is your voice a little weak? Were you out drinking all last night? Are you recovering from COVID? What's up?
Yeah, I'm coming down with a little bit of something, so I might have to go get a test here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but
sorry. All right, my bad. I probably shouldn't have even brought down the mood with that. Okay, talk to us about the bats and the stacks. Ice, what do you like? Cheese said the bats are kind of spread out here.
Yeah, definitely very spread out. I'm a huge proponent of stacking. Typically, this slate there are not a ton of stacks to like. I'm finding just as much to like hunting home runs because of the profile of a lot of pitchers. You got a lot of guys that are giving up fly balls and hard contact, but not really tons of runs. They all have pretty decent control. So I'm actually fine on this slate going with like smaller stacks than I typically do. I'm almost always 4-man on FanDuel and 5-man on DK, but I'm fine home run hunting a little bit more on this slate. The Mets are one of my favorite teams to do that with, as I mentioned, against Hunter Green. The Braves are in a good spot against Dakota Hudson, who's not striking anybody out. And the Dodgers are up there in that top tier as well against low strikeouts from Kyle Freeland. The Padres are against Flexen, who is another one of those hard contact guys. Got Manny Machado back in that lineup, so a little bit deeper lineup there. And then Toronto as well against Cole Irvin in a good spot with a ton of right-handed power.
Great. All right. Cheese, your favorite stack. And do you agree that you're a little bit, I mean, I know you're a full stack guy. You love stacking.
So the only reason I don't love the power hunting here is that I think it's so important to spend up at pitcher.
That it's hard to power hunt.
Yeah. Like there's still some cheap power hunting guys. Like it's still doable. But I do end up with more stacks. But I agree, like everything he said about there's these pitchers who are more attackable with power than they are with stacking. Absolutely.
Okay, well, talk to me about some of your favorite stacks.
There's really like 7 or 8 that are tied. If I had to pick one, it's the Mets, followed by the Twins, followed by the Braves. But they're also tied with the Dodgers, White Sox, Blue Jays, Padres. That's why it's just so spread out, and they're all great. If I could only do one, it would be the Mets.
Okay. And so we've got FanDuel lock here in 11 minutes. Cheese is.
So tell you, let's just talk briefly about that one game because it's just the Giants Diamondbacks game.
Okay.
And then everything else, you're going to be able to play with your FanDuel lineup for another 30 minutes still.
Great.
And really, with this Giants lineup, it's tough to be excited at all because you pretty much need to go like Slater, Flores, Ruff, Longoria if you're going to try to stack the Giants. And because Jock and Yasser Brodusky are not in the lineup, the chances of Slater and Ruff staying in this game are really not very good. So I don't like it at all, honestly. They're all fine. And they could score 8 runs in the first 2 innings. Like it's in the range of outcomes and they're all cheap. So if you want to do a 1 through 4 Giant stack, certainly if you're MMEing, yeah, throw that in there. I'd say it's a little more likely that Longoria stays in the game and probably Flores because Estrada's out. But Brandon Belt could absolutely come in for either one of them too. So I officially don't like it, even though I think they score plenty of runs.
I think that there's some great points there on the pinch hit risk being a little higher. And the Giants are somebody who pinch hit a lot anyway. But facing the lefty and having some of their best bats on the bench, that's definitely higher risk. And I don't know if you touched on the Arizona side. I'm not terribly interested in picking on Rodon. So like Luke Lau for a cheap home run is somebody I don't mind, but I'm not looking to stack Arizona at all.
Yeah, I think you could cross that game off, and I don't think you're losing anything other than, I mean, you want Rodon in your pitcher pool, but I just don't see how it's super necessary.
Did we lose Kevin? I think we
might have lost Kevin, so we'll carry on without him. Oh, there he is.
Sorry,
everything's fine. Don't turn your camera off on America there.
Well,
America's here to see you.
I tried to sprint out as I realized my computer was dying, and I got back like, there's no way it died in that amount of time, but it did. But hey, I'm back.
So we talked about FanDuel, and so I figure we'll go position by position and just talk both sites together.
Sounds good. Okay, so we want to get this done in the next 8 minutes?
No.
Okay, excellent. All right, well then start at catcher, and Cheese, you can lead us off.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Will Smith is the obvious guy. But not I don't feel like you just have to spend up a catcher. And you can also pivot to Alejandro Kirk, assuming he's in the lineup. That's the one lineup we're waiting on. I kind of like Eric Haas as well, against Fluffy in the middle of the lineup. Makes me so happy that that's his name.
Yeah, I love Fluffy Pilkington. It's just a really good nickname.
But on DK, I think this is a wonderful place to save. Certainly in cash game, even in tournaments, as one-offs in stacks, with Ryan Jeffers, with Sebi Zavala. They're cheap. Both teams kind of have a lot of upside around them. So my go-to is really spend down with one of those two guys, and spend my money somewhere else.
Okay. Ice catcher.
Yeah, I don't have much to add there. Smith and Kirk at the top. I like Jeffers and Zavala as the punts. Like Darno maybe, who's decent, but he's really expensive. Even he's overpriced, in fact. Jorge Alfaro is hitting 6th, and Cal Raleigh is 5th for the Mariners. I don't mind him. He's had some power this year, but just kind of saying names for some GPP pivots.
And let me jump right. Sorry. Let me jump in real quick again before FanDuel locks, because I already saw a note in Discord, like San Francisco bats match up great versus Bumgarner according to Plate IQ. Yes, they match up great. It's just that you have to assume every single one of them gets pinch hit for. That's the issue. It's not that they don't match up great. They do. They absolutely do. So I just want to reiterate that, since that was mentioned in the Discord.
No, that's noteworthy. All right, Ice first base.
All right. Pete Alonso is my favorite option here against Green, giving up a ton of hard contact, ton of fly balls, fits Pete Alonso's profile perfectly. Freddie Freeman, certainly going to be in your Dodgers stacks. Jose Abreu is underpriced against Bundy, who gives up plenty of power to righties. I like Matt Olson for the Braves, Vlad Guerrero for the Jays. Joey Votto is underpriced, and Luke Voigt is another cheap option that you can use.
Ice, Cheese.
Yep. I mean, Alonso's awesome, and he should hit at least 3 home runs today and strike out at least once, maybe twice. If he gets 5 at bats, it's 2 and 3.
Yeah.
From there, it's tricky because there's a lot of stuff that's really good. It's not quite as good as Alonso, like Vlad, Olson, Freeman as spend-ups. Then like the White Sox guys on DK, both Abreu and Vaughn are first baseman, which makes me want to play Vaughn just to be different. FanDuel, you play Abreu at first, Vaughn in the outfield. Abreu in particular is the kind of guy that I only like against a pitcher exactly like Bundy. Like, it's really ideal for him. But you can even save at first base. Like, you can play Kirilloff on DK as a first baseman, and Miranda on FanDuel is free. You can play like Luke Voigt. I like everything at this position. I like spending up, I like spending down, and I like the mid-tier. So what I would say, what that kind of does is tell me that I don't absolutely have to have the first baseman in my stack. And that makes your stack different. If you play the Dodgers without Freeman, or you play the Blue Jays without Vlad, or you play the Braves without Olson, you're still getting a fantastic first baseman that can hit 2 home runs, and your stack's automatically a little different. So that's one thing I'm doing.
Okay, that's good stuff. Ice first. No. Cheese second.
There you go.
Thanks.
Second base for America. This is the worst position today. There is basically nothing I like other than Jorge Polanco. And I really do like Jorge Polanco. But that's kind of weird chalk. And it won't be mega chalk, but he's chalk in my lineups. Like, I'm very uncomfortable how much Polanco I have. But there's just nothing I want to play in his place. I do kind of like Jeff McNeil. Not even kind of. I do like Jeff McNeil. But he's not even one of my 4 favorite Mets, which is kind of a problem. I kind of like Jake Cronenworth. But like everyone at second, none of these guys are great to play on their own. Like, every other position has guys with huge individual upside that second doesn't. So for me, this is the one spot you wait and just play a guy in your stack, kind of regardless of who it is.
Okay, good stuff. Let's see, Ice, do you feel any better about second? You got a guy you like here?
I don't feel any better. Polanco is the guy I like as well. Jonathan India, still a guy whose price hasn't quite adjusted to his talent level, missed some time on the IL. So I do like India leading off for the Reds. I like McNeil as well, but more of a stack guy than somebody I'm chasing power with. Yeah, Cronenworth is fine as well. Don't mind him as a one-off, a little bit of power there, but yeah, it's not a strong position.
Okay, let's go to third.
All right. Jose Ramirez is the top option here. If you can spend up, I'd love Manny Machado as a tournament pivot, flexing a guy that gives up a ton of hard contact. So I do like the Padres quite a bit here today. Moncada for the White Sox. Been a rough year for him, but he's really cheap. Great matchup against Bundy, who's not striking anybody out. I like Escobar in a Mets stack, Justin Turner in a Dodger stack.
All right, Cheese, third.
Pretty similar to first in that you can spend up, you can go to the middle, you can go cheap, and it's all good. And it all has individual upside and in the stack upside. And like, I almost don't care which of the first like 10 guys I play. It's what does it do to the rest of my lineup? If I had to just pick a guy, I would go with Machado. If I had to just pick a cheaper guy, I would go with Escobar. But everyone that Keith named is fantastic, and you should want to play all of them. And I'm just pretty darn well spread out at third. But give me Machado if I have to just pick one guy.
All right, take us to short.
Short is also just really super deep and fantastic, and they're all really bunched together to where I can't tell you which one to play because they're all the same wonderful person. Lindor, Turner, Correa, Anderson, Bichette, Swanson. That's 6 guys that all have same as first and third, individual upside in the stack upside. They're affordable on FanDuel, and while they're not affordable on DK, they're all like priced together. And you can add Baez in there if you want to spend up to be different again. If I have to pick one, I'll pick Lindor. But I just have the 6 of those guys spread out evenly based on lineup build.
Okay. Ice, do you have any particular leans here? A guy you're fading, a guy you're loving?
Not really looking to fade any of them. There's so much upside amongst all of them, and there's a handful of them that nobody's going to grab a ton of ownership. Bichette would probably be my favorite if I was picking one. Lindor and Turner are awesome as well. And I would include Baez in this group here. Really, it's a tough start to the year for him, but he's been much better here recently. So I do like Baez.
Okay. Take us to the outfield.
All right. Mookie Betts just has a goofy price because he has been on the IL here. He is underpriced in the top play on the slate by a pretty good margin. I like Franmil Reyes, another guy who's underpriced with a ton of power. Nimmo for the Mets. I like Teoscar Hernandez and George Springer for the Blue Jays. Ronald Acuna, can certainly always play him. Luis Robert has a really good price for the batting third for the White Sox. A couple of cheap guys I like, Gavin Sheets for the White Sox and Riley Green for the Tigers. Alex Kirilloff also for the Twins. A pretty good prospect who just hasn't quite got going yet, but a lot of talent there for Kirilloff.
Okay. Cheese, talk to me about Mookie quick and then everyone else, because his projection is like 3 points above every other outfielder's, and his
Indeed,
price,
$1,000 too cheap. Yeah.
like what in the world? And yet he doesn't have like the rainbow tag like I would expect he would.
Well, it's kind of like you have to look for an excuse not to play him. And you can find it. I mean, he's been out for a while. Like, you can't say 100% for sure that he's just definitely healthy. That's probably the biggest issue. But he came back and hit 2 doubles yesterday, so he's probably healthy.
He's pretty damn healthy then. Yeah.
And the problem is, like, if you don't look at the price for a minute and just line all the guys up, like, he's probably the top outfielder. I might say I like Buxton better, but he's probably the top outfielder. And he is, like, instead of being priced at $6K, which he was before he got hurt, he's 4,300.
Yeah.
I think you play this one based on the rest of your build. If everything you're doing is pretty chalky, even though there's not chalk, but like if you have, Mania and Urias with a twin stack, don't just play bets in every lineup in there and have the same lineup. But it's not like everyone's playing him. He'll still be, only like 30% owned in big tournaments and maybe 40 or 50 in smaller field stuff. And he's so much better than things in that price range. What I'll say is that I like Robert and Kepler pretty much as much for the potential upside. But still, even then, I'd rather just play 2 or 3 of those guys. And there's no reason to fade bets other than everyone else is playing them. So what does the rest of your lineup look like?
Sure. And even like you said, the ownership isn't that crazy.
Yeah, it's probably not, because there's so many outfielders. They're just like every other position other than second base.
Okay. Well, talk to me about some of the other outfielders that you do love.
The DK guy that I have way too much of is Gavin Sheets. He's just super cheap. I do love all the Mets. And I don't think Marte and Nimmo get played a lot at their prices. Nimmo on FanDuel is cheap-ish, and I think he'll get played. But I'm spreading out here because there's just not much difference between any of these guys. What I'll say is mostly on DK, I don't really like the mid-tier, like mid-right. Once you get right below bets, I pretty much either want to be punting down below 3K or just going up higher. I can throw out 100 names and they're all great, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. We're getting a few questions in. We'll take some of these. And man, did I get a question that I absolutely love. Are you ready for this, Cheese?
I am.
Okay, I'm glad you responded. Scorekeeper says, what are your thoughts on playing guys in the second game of a doubleheader? Do you play them as usual, or are you less likely to play them because of soreness, fatigue, or maybe more importantly, pitch hit risk?
So it's an interesting question. The way I view, and they're all the doubleheaders are different. It depends exactly how the first game went, who the teams are, et cetera, et cetera. But generally speaking, my lean on that is I downgrade full stacking a little bit more so than individual guys, in the sense that if the game is close, if it's 3-2, Cleveland is not taking Jose Ramirez out of the game.
Right.
But if it's 11-1, they absolutely are. Now, if it's 11-1, of course, all their guys have already done something. But I don't so much like a situation where I feel like they'll almost certainly pinch hit if it gets out of hand.
Sure. And to be clear, if it's 11-1, maybe the other team is up 11-1 and they haven't.
Yeah, another good point. So I do have a little less love for stacking. But with individual bats, again, if the game's close, I'm not worried about them being tired. And I'm not worried about pinch hit risk in a close game.
Yeah. I've played baseball before. I believe it was in 5th grade or so. It takes very little effort. You could play 8 games in a row and still be fine.
Yeah. If it was, hockey or basketball or football, and they were playing 2 in a day, I would back off. But it's a lot of standing around.
A whole lot of standing around.
They get to
It's
sit
very
for
boring.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I quit. I decided basketball was better for me. Ice, is this something you consider at all? Is it something you even ever thought of?
It's not really a consideration for me. I mean, they're professional athletes. I think fatigue would be the one thing that enters my mind. But yeah, it's not really an issue.
But it's fatigue. It's like maybe if it's 100 degrees and you're just sitting there like it's baking, like, okay, maybe I can see that. You're out there for 6 hours just in the sun. But it's not a sport that requires a whole lot of exertion. Okay, let's take some other QQs and then we'll get out of here when those start to dry up. That sound good?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Thanks. All right. Chinatown says, hey, Roth, I missed weather. Anything that can't be played in cash? I don't think so. I would certainly play bats everywhere. There's a chance for a delay in Atlanta. There's a chance for a late start in Chicago and maybe some late inning trouble as well. But I think the timing of that game, with it being 2 hours from now, means the storm that they're seeing now is kind of clear or clearing. The storm that arrives later gets there at midnight. I think there's a pretty good window. So I think you're good everywhere as far as weather goes. For Cheese, if I don't play Mookie in cash, do I need a new non-DFS pastime? That is a good question.
I mean, yeah, like Cardi would go off the rails on you if you consider not playing bets in cash. Really, I can't. I think if you don't play Mookie Betts in cash, I think the Cardi saying is true that you're just doing this wrong. I think that's fair to say.
I love it. All right. NBA DFS. Ice, is it cool if I hit you with cash questions? You feel okay with that?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay. This is FanDuel Cash. Lindor Abreu, which, by the way, is locked, but I guess we've got cushion here. Lindor Abreu or T. Anderson and your boy Polar Bear Pete?
I would go the second one there.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, Cheese, Lindor or Trey Turner?
Yes, but Lindor.
All right. DY says, Ice, thoughts on Chapman returning to Oakland? I don't know if there's like, it's great. Like, what thoughts does he want from you?
I mean, he played for the A's for a long time. It's a revenge narrative.
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm in. I'm all in. Yeah.
Roth is in. I am out.
Yeah. Okay. No. All right. Let's see. He's going to get that extra 1.5 miles mph on the fastball that Shop was talking about.
And he's a hitter. He's going to get extra exit velocity.
I thought he was a pitcher. No idea who the hell Chapman is. All right. JMVP says, DK single entry. Cheese, would you he's a hitter. Who would you prioritize in a Met stack, Marte or Nimmo? The 2v2 would be Nimmo Betts or Marte Gurriel.
Oh, geez. I mean, I like Marte better than Nimmo by a little bit. But I like Betts better than Gurriel by a lot. So the first half of the answer is Marte. The second half of the answer is Nimmo Betts.
Yeah, good job. And that's why we encourage the 2v2s as opposed to this guy versus this guy if they're in different price ranges. Was there not a great pitcher named Chapman, like a closer Chapman on the Yankees?
That's Aroldis Chapman. Yes,
yep.
He is not returning to Oakland tonight.
Okay,
but
if he does exist,
he would throw a 1.5 miles faster for sure.
He would, yeah. And was he really, really good? And now he really, really sucks. Is that also?
He's still really, really good. He's really, really hurt. He's still he's not as good as he used to be, but he's just hurt, and he may never be the same again. Yeah.
That happens when you throw that hard. All right. Let's see. Aside, FanDuel Cash, 2v2 Ice. You want McNeil and Ginger Turner or India and Arias?
First one for cash.
All right. Cheese DUI says, DKGPP, your best option at third for 3-7 or less.
Okay. So here's what's funny about that. The question about Matt Chapman, for me, I didn't know if he meant that as like, do we care that Matt Chapman is going back to Oakland? Like, is he going to be better because he's bagging Oakland? No. But I still like him as a play. With that being said, I think he's over 3,700. He's 39, and Escobar's 38. And Escobar would be my favorite if you had an extra dollar. But if you don't, that would be Gio Urshela.
Okay. Excellent. Home run call of the day from scorekeeper Brendan Rodgers going deep today. Lock him in. You in agreement? Anyone? Brendan Rodgers love?
He's been good against lefties, but
I mean, don't lock him in. That would be ridiculous.
No.
But sure, he could hit a home run today.
Okay. All right. There you go. Let's see. We'll take a few YouTube questions. Crazy Coop says, how are the Twins? The Twins are good. There's a Twitter misunderstanding there. Don't worry about that. Let's jump over to the YouTube real quick here. From Frank, who is your favorite team to stack with the Mets? Ice, who's your favorite team to stack with the Mets?
I will go San Diego.
Okay. And all right, we got one more question, then we're out of here. This question comes from Jay, and he says, Cheese, DK single entry, India Betts or Teoscar and Polanco?
That's one I'm willing to fade bets. I would go Teoscar or Polanco.
Excellent stuff. Okay, with that, we have caught up on all the questions, both in the Discord and on the YouTube. We've given all the plays. We've talked some weather. I will be posting a weather update in Chicago pre-lock. And if I don't, assume everything's fine. If I, do, it's probably more likely to be problematic.
I hope to not hear from you.
Yes. I hope to not hear from myself. So with that, we are going to get on out of here. For Ice, for Cheese, and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.